Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday, except when I have a head cold. So I was out of commission there for a couple days, had a pretty bad head cold. I might still be sniffing on the live stream, so I apologize for that, but definitely on the mend, which is really good to hear. Because more than anything, I don't know about you, but when I get sick, which doesn't happen frequently, but when I get a head cold or something like that, it's more so just feeling miserable. Like, you just feel miserable, and I get in a real bitchy mood. So glad to be on the mend. Raghorn, good to see you. Jake, welcome in. Yeah, it is going to be a long weekend. Of course, for those of you who are in the United States, Monday is Labor Day. So it's going to be a nice long weekend, which will be great. Of course, I was looking at the forecast, and here in South Florida, tomorrow looks like it's going to be a beautiful day, and the weekend looks miserable. So I don't really know what's going on. Of course, I will give you a reminder at the end of the live stream. I was planning to live stream on August 31st, which would be Saturday, because we have that monthly and 2-month close. We'll kind of take a look at the way the candlesticks are shaping up at the moment. But a lot to talk about. I saw that for the majority of the time today, the market was green. It did look like it was going red. I don't know if we're still red. Okay. Bitcoin's up 1%. I thought Bitcoin was up around 2.5% or so today. And we look at our mid caps, we're probably down, yeah. Casper's green. So let's kind of talk about some of the price action going on and what we might expect kind of going into the monthly close. And of course, I'll be here for the monthly close. So if you're available to join me, I know it's a Saturday evening. Most of you have more of a life than I do. But if you wish to geek out with me, I will be here to share my thoughts live on Saturday. I'll have to give thought to if I'm going to do a live stream on Monday, given it's Labor Day. Not sure. But let's kind of take a look at recent price action here. So again, one of the things that we routinely do on this channel is we assess the price action on the 12-hour chart. A lot of historical significance. Not going to go over all the key things that I normally talk about on the 12-hour, but couple important things to note here. Now, what we want to see, what you want to visualize in your head eventually is what we'd like to see on this chart is we'd like to see this purple line here begin to curl back up and cross this line. We also don't want this line coming down. You can see it's starting to come down here. We want it to flatten out and then eventually also begin to curl up. That's what we want to see on the chart, right? So the fact that price, now I know we've left this orange zone that I wanted to see us consolidate in. We've re-entered the green consolidation zone that we spoke about for a while now, which obviously is less bullish than maintaining price levels up in the orange area. However, a couple key things here, okay? First off, one of the basic questions you should ask yourself to determine if we're seeing the potential signs of a trend reversal back to the upside, right? So if we zoom out here, you can see we have all of these lower highs, right? We eventually have to take out all of these lower highs, okay? So we're just starting to pop our head up here, right? And this is the first main area at 70,000 we'd have to take out to begin feeling really convinced. But what can we at least see from current price structure? What we can see is we still have a high here, we have a low here, we have another higher low here, and we have another higher low here. We could even come all the way down here to 56.5, create a double bottom here, and we're still getting higher lows coming in. Where I would get concerned with price would be if we start to break down substantially below this $55,000 area. This would sort of be my line in the sand to say, well, if we break down to 55, we're going to spend quite a bit of time down there, in my opinion, for the majority of the month of September trying to get our bearings. So let's kind of mark that area. So long as we stay above that 55.1, I'm fine. The other thing to take away from this chart, price has gravitated towards the 50 simple moving average, the purple line, okay? So long as we maintain price levels around this price area at the 50, okay, it might cause the 200 to slightly curl down, and that's fine. In fact, it will. But it's going to cause that 50 simple moving average to still stabilize in price. If price can maintain current price levels around this area, this moving average is going to flatten out. And then once price does begin to move up, that's what's going to cause the golden cross to ensue on this chart. So again, this isn't the most ideal price action that we'd want to see, especially going into the monthly and 2-month close that I've been hitting on now, especially the 2-month close. But it's not bearish, and it hasn't broken trend, and it hasn't left me feeling concerned, okay, for the reasons that I've outlaid to you. Now, what I want to do, apologies. First off, I want to clean up this chart because when I come back to it, I don't want to be upset at myself for having scribbles all over the place. I wanted to jump to the 2-month chart. So I want to take a look at the formation of this candlestick. Now, of course, we are going to assess this closing live on Saturday, right? But let's at least have a conversation about what the candlestick does and doesn't tell us based on the formation. If this candlestick turns red, it does not mean that it's bearish, okay? You could have a thin red body here. Something similar to the shape of this. I'd like to see something a little bit thinner. And all that candlestick, you don't need to know the name of the candlestick. All it's expressing to you is we essentially had a lot of downsides. This would be a big wick. A lot of downside volatility that got eaten up on the buy side. And we also couldn't sustain prices above, the $70,000 area. But we essentially closed where we opened, okay? So I would look at that candlestick and say, indecisive, right? Indecisive. So that would be my assessment of the candlestick if it prints similar to how it's printing right now. Now, if it were to close green, which is what we were hoping to see, right? We wanted this thing to close at 62,700 or above. Now, 62,700, just to give you some level of appreciation, in order to close at 62,700, that would be, from current price levels, a 5% move, just over 5%. We'll say 5.4%. A 5.4% move to the upside within 3 days, 2 days, excuse me, Friday and Saturday is certainly possible. Do I think based on current price action that we could push all the way back up to 62.7? No, I think it's possible, but I think what's more likely if we're going to see upside in price is getting above this 61.8. It would still be bullish, in my opinion, if we could get up towards 61.8 and close at or above it, because the shape of this candlestick, it will be red, but the body will be so thin, okay? And the most bullish thing that we would love to see play out in the chart, again, is closing at or above 62.7. Now, if we flip to the price indicators, these are a couple other things we're going to be watching for. We want that RSI on the 2-month to get above 70, stochastic RSI to remain in very healthy bullish conditions above 70. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, as well as the MACD. Looks like it's fading a little bit. Now, keep in mind, I have shared with you, and nothing has changed. I had posted out earlier today, posted out a few things we can have a conversation about, but I posted this out earlier today. And by the way, if you guys haven't, I've joined these spaces for the past 2 weeks now. So when I do retweet this out, feel free to join if you have time. I think next week I'm partaking in the Wednesday stream at 7 p.m. if he's still having it at the same time. I don't know that I can do next Thursday. It's going to be probably not possible. But keep an eye out for those if you follow me on X. But anyway, there were a couple things I had posted out beyond the fact that it's kind of funny going back in time. when I said I guess we can quick touch on this. If we flip to this chart, I was warning everyone once we broke this price confluence. I literally said in the video when we first talked about it, who's to say this thing couldn't go to a penny? We're barely holding on to a penny on Casper. It does not look pretty. It has not looked pretty for a while. But anyway, so I kind of and again, the whole point, I want everyone to know this. I'm not trolling the community. That's not the point of these posts. The point of the posts is I want to etch in everyone's mind that I was ahead of this. And how was I ahead of this? I was ahead of this because I objectively viewed the chart and the price went in the most probabilistic direction. Price, again, if you're not a numbers person and you can't, I don't know, if you don't view things analytically, I guess this is missed on some people, but I can never tell you what's going to happen. No one can. But what we can do is we can use that data to inform us on what is most and least likely, right? So I'm trying to really etch into people's heads the pain that you've experienced if you're holding this could have been completely avoided if you would have put your emotions aside and you would just objectively evaluated the chart. And that's a good dovetail into this. I've had a really interesting read on the market lately. I've noticed that on X, and in particular, I've paid a little bit more attention to some of these larger accounts. Some accounts, I don't even know who they are, but there are larger accounts with big followings. And what I would say is this. Intelligence is a little harsh. I posted this out. Coffee was not fully ingested in my system, so apologies. I felt that was a little harsh. But the people who... Let's go to the post here and understand what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of people who, throughout this time period, this is the weekly view on Bitcoin, throughout this entire time period, have completely flipped scripts and have said, we've topped out, we're not creating a higher high, it's all over, right? And what I find interesting about that synopsis of the market is it seems a lot more likely that these individuals, and some of them have large followings on X, are not properly interpreting and navigating the market. And what's fueling a lot of their views on the market are their emotions. I laid out several things here that are still all leading me to conclude that what we are going through right now, and what I've been stressing to everyone, is it's been noise. This is designed to weed you out. Again, it's so easy to, in hindsight, look at this weekly candlestick, by the way. It's so bullish, the length on that wick. I know we covered that before, but it is so easy in hindsight to go back on prior price action and say, oh man, like, yeah, this was post-halving here. This was so obvious that we were going to go on a bull run. It's easy to say that now, but back here, virtually no one was thinking that. Virtually no one was thinking that. We have been going through 6 months of consolidation. That's literally all this is, okay? There is nothing so far. Now, things could change. And again, if something changes, I'm going to objectively evaluate it as I always do and share that with you. But there has been nothing that has changed in the charts which has led me to conclude that we've topped and we're entering some massive bear market. I cannot stress that enough. I had someone on the Spaces today, and believe me, I respect everyone's opinions. I just disagree with this individual. Someone told me that they looked at the weekly Dixie and said it's bullish. I was like, and my response was, well, what are you looking at? Because what I'm looking at is, I'm looking at lower highs. Yeah, maybe we get a bounce here. Maybe we come up to, 103. We're just going to roll over more than likely. This is an extremely weak chart. This should provide us an area of price confluence perhaps for the next few months. There's a psychological level on the Dixie at 100, and the 200 simple moving average on the weekly is at 100. Fine, I give you that. I've spoken to that. We'll probably find a temporary bottom there. but there's nothing on this chart that says it's bottomed. There's nothing on this chart that says it's bottomed. It's a very weak chart, and we know that if the Dixie is weak, that has an inverse relationship with stocks, risk on assets, and so we should expect strength in those said assets. USDT dominance. We've been in this bear flag. Again, you might actually be able to say, no, it's not. You might want to even consolidate that further so you can see it. I don't know what to tell you. This is just basic technical analysis. We know if dominance is decreasing on Tether, what that's implying is those stable coins are being deployed into other crypto assets. So, again, that's another indicator. I pointed out the, I don't think I pointed to this one in my post, but again, you look at the, let's check out the Bitcoin dominance. Oh, we'll talk about this chart. I wanted to talk about this one real quick. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and I don't know if you're getting the theme of today's live stream. The theme of today's live stream is let's all just fucking chill. If any part of you is freaking out right now, we've had 2 days of downside. Like, let's all chill the fuck out, please. And if you're finding yourself getting emotional, you're not going to do very well once this market really does take off. And I mean all coins. Bitcoin has been taking off. Which you can't allow those emotions to steer you. So we've been in a rising wedge, and we're like at the apex of it. Could we come down here and then come back up here in November or October? Yes, but look at how much time we've spent in this rising wedge. Again, the rising wedge doesn't have to break down. It has a much higher probability. It's a pattern that has played out in tons of charts over literally, I'll say 100 years or more, okay, of charting. And when this pattern presents itself, it has a certain likelihood of going in a direction. And the higher likelihood is to the downside, guys. So it's just another indication. But did want to talk about, beyond this being a bull flag that we've spoken about, I mean, it still is, it's a bull pennant. This is something we haven't spoken about in a while and something to keep an eye on. This is the weekly view on Bitcoin, and it's the Gaussian channel. Now, when we were back here, it would have been fine if we dipped all the way down here based on where the Gaussian channel was at. It would have been fine if we dipped into the $48, $47, $46, $45,000 range. Now that the Gaussian channel has increased to the point that the top of the channel is right around 51,000, you don't want to see Bitcoin entertaining prices down at the $51,000 area. Because again, what we could do, which would be nerve-wracking but fine, would be you could get a weekly candlestick that has a wick that comes in here but closes above it, and that's fine. But what you don't want to see is a candle body close get into this Gaussian channel, because after we have flipped from red to green, okay, you don't want to re-enter this thing. We've spent time in the past talking about it, but once you re-enter that Gaussian channel at a point like this, the likelihood is much further downside. So we definitely want to avoid that. It's another reason why I don't think we're going to see some of the price levels that people are talking about. If I had to take an educated guess, again, I believe September is going to provide some level of volatility associated with it, where you are going to see some downside price action, okay? I'm not expecting some big green candle to come in September. You really want to, ultimately on a closing basis, I want to stay above 55.1. Now, could we wick into this area? That's fine, but let's not go much lower than the $55,000 area, okay? That would sort of be my line in the sand that I want to see hold. Who do we have on the live stream, by the way? I don't see too much in the comments. Who do I have here? Who is around? Let's get on a... probably the worst chart in the market. Let's see, what else can we take a look at here? EDA. I want to show you something interesting. What can we chart that's actually interesting? And this is really how quickly the market can move. It can move quickly in either direction. We were all green today. I saw Casper was up 3%. You know, Bitcoin was up 2%, and now the market's red. Right? This is how quickly. One coin we haven't looked at in a while. I'm curious because I saw the price level. I want to see WorldCoin. Oh wow. Okay. Anybody here hold ticker symbol WLD WorldCoin? This is an AI play. Interesting. Right about there. Yeah. Like many of the other altcoins, we're just trying to find our bottom, right? In a downtrend, basically in this zone of price confluence, the question is, will a dollar hold? It's also a psychological level. And will we see a bounce up with the rest of the market? It's just a matter of when. So this is what I see on this chart in case anyone is interested. Theta. Does anybody have any charting questions for me? Because I know normally on Thursdays, I just wanted to kind of give you a broad overview of the market. I mean, guys, on Saturday, we're going to take a look at the 2-month close. So we'll have a lot of analysis to go through at that point. But until then, it's kind of just a wait-and-see mode to see how August closes out. In the next 2 days, does anyone have any charting questions for me? If not, we can make this a super quick live stream. Why isn't this working? There we go. Okay, we haven't charted this one in a while. So, much like WorldCoin, you can clearly see downtrend here. Do we have a falling wedge? Let me see. Nah, it doesn't look, looks like a channel more. So, well, yeah. You have a falling wedge here. I mean, you can certainly draw a falling wedge. Sometimes what you can also do, you can put on the Heikin-Ashi, see how Heikin-Ashi candlesticks here and see how that changes things. But, yeah, there's definitely a falling wedge in play. We have some downward resistance as well. Obviously, I already have the areas of price confluence marked here. You can get more granular and say there's an area of price confluence like right there. But yeah, right around there. Yeah, not too much to say on this. Now, I will tell you this. Kind of a high-level assessment here looking at the weekly. What I like to see on the weekly, a couple things jump out to me. So first off, the MACD has flattened out here. If we can close relatively where we're at or higher, I would expect this MACD to get closer and closer to crossing up. The stochastic RSI looks like it wants to get above 20, and we're in this. Oh, we also have bullish divergence on the RSI. Check that out. A little bit. Even though it crosses here, the whole point of what I'm trying to illustrate is price here was lower than here, and the RSI is higher. So we have bullish divergence on the RSI. You're in a falling wedge that the indicators look like they want to turn around. This thing could be primed for a bounce soon. If I was looking to establish an entry and I didn't have any, I mean, really, I'd be buying anywhere in this area. Anywhere in here is fair game for me. Right between $1.30 and $1. So, looks good. a breakout and retest. And by the way, Jake, it's a good observation. Let me tell you why. Let me answer your question. Yes, you can currently view it as a breakout and a retest, and I'll tell you why. Good point. You see how this area here has a lot of price confluence? Once we broke back up, we came back to the general area and then broke out. Now we're coming again right back down to this area. This dollar is a huge area of price confluence. So at the moment, you could argue that this is a breakout and retest of price confluence, okay? And as long as that dollar holds, we should expect further upside. So good observation. Anybody else have any other charting questions for me? If not, meeting adjourned, everybody. I shared everything I wanted to share with you. Yeah, I don't have anything else, guys. Now, I don't anticipate being here tomorrow, but like I said, if you would like to join me for an irregular live stream on Saturday, I will be covering both the 2-month close and the monthly close Saturday evening. We can geek out together. I might actually have a drink in hand, too. Things could get a little spicy, you know. I haven't had an old-fashioned in a while. Maybe I'll make an old-fashioned up. And things will get a little spicy on the live stream. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Glad to be back at it. And hopefully I'll see you guys on Saturday. Until next time, let's all spread awareness. Let's carry the education forward. Take care, guys.